And hello, everyone. There should have been a nice lady coming on saying that the webinar is being recorded, but indeed it is being recorded, and welcome to each and every one of you. If you're on this call today, it's probably because you're either a business owner who's concerned about the impact Obamacare will have on your business, and it will have one. It's just a matter of degree. Or you're someone who works with business owners and you want to learn more so that you can give wise counsel to your clients. And in either event, you are quite welcome. Now, if you are an advisor and agent, just be aware that the freemiums, the bonuses that we're going to be giving today really are not applicable to you. In fact, most of you already have this material if you purchased the Obamacare Bootcamp for consultants or some subsequent versions of that. You probably have most, if not all of it. So those things that we're mentioning are really for the business owners and the self-employed dentists, doctors, lawyers who are on this call today. And I want to welcome again all of you for thank you for taking out an hour of your day. Today's webinar is sponsored by Delta Properties and Delta Business Services. They are the people you need to turn to if you're thinking about retiring and selling your business in the next 2 to 5 years. So definitely go on their website and you will be able to get a lot of freebies. One of the things Delta is going to offer everyone who's a business owner on this call is a free business valuation. And if you've ever gone to try to get your business valuated, you know that that can cost you anywhere from $500 to $2,000. So that's a really good deal. To find out more, go to deltabusinessservices.com, opt in for the free report, and then we'll contact you and tell you how to get some free valuations done. And we got some really good people on today. We have Chuck. I just want to say hi to Chuck Madden because he's always a real fun guy, and he always puts crazy things into my questions and makes me laugh during a serious presentation. So again, thanks to Oren Claff. Oren helped us promote this webinar to his people. Welcome to all of Oren's students. Pitch Mastery. If you sell for a living, honest to goodness, pitchanything.com. I get no money from this. Okay, I don't profit from this, but I recommend it all the time. Again, here's where you get the information from Delta. You can go and get your free report, and you can get that business. You can set yourself up to get a business valuation from Heath, who is the authority on baby boomer exits. Today's guest. Many of you know him. I know you all love him. He is a talk. Yeah, he's laughing because he knows he's thinking of his own family. They're like throwing things at him, right? Today's guest is KCAA Radio's #1 talk show host out there in lovely San Bernardino County, California. He's also an author. He wrote so many things I can't even keep up with them, but he did write You're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat. And we're going to tell you more about that in a few minutes. And right now he's the host of Safe Money Talk with Rick Liu. He has 2 minutes to tell you everything you need to know and why you should listen to him. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our special guest presenter today, Rick Liu.
Okay, Tammy, can you hear me?
Absolutely, Rick. Go right ahead.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, there's there's my beautiful wife, my daughters, and now we're going to get started. Okay, does that mean that I only have 2 minutes for my presentation? Because I'm going to tell them who I am in just a second, so I'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
For those of you that are on this presentation, welcome. It's designed for business owners primarily, and if you're a business owner, I promise you this is not going to be a waste of your time. I'm guaranteeing you right now that you are going to hear and see something that you didn't know before. The biggest misconception that I run into everywhere I go is that most Americans, both seniors, business owners, and any individuals and families that are responsible for their own health insurance, the biggest misconception I find in America today is that most people think that the worst impact, the worst negative impact, is in the rear view mirror behind us as a result of Obamacare. And nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, 2015 was worse than 2014. 2016 will be worse than ever, and anything after that, it's going to be bad. and I don't think this bill is going to change much. There's a lot of rhetoric going on about defunding it or repealing it, and just I want you to imagine trying to stop an aircraft carrier that's going full speed ahead and have it stop on a dime. It's just not going to happen. Now, I predicted this in 2013 that the bill would change and evolve. I don't think we're going to see it gone for good. I think the cat's out of the bag and the genie's out of the bottle for most of it, and we'll get into that. But I'm addressing this primarily to who are my clients, business owners and seniors on Medicare. So this is a very comfortable environment for me. You guys are, I am one of you, but I do want to tell you, for those of you that don't know who I am, you business owners, I want you to know what qualifies me to even conduct this webinar. First, I have 20 years plus as an executive for the major telecommunications company. So my main core career was not really in financial services, even though I've been affiliated and pretty much running parallel to financial services since 1987. Most of my career was spent as a white-collar, red-tie executive for telecommunications companies like MCI and AT&T. And I did that until 1999 when I got crazier. I became crazier and did something out of the ordinary. And I raised about $25 million from private and institutional investors and formed my own startup tech company. We eventually employed 65 tech employees with a $165,000 a month payroll, and our overhead was $300,000 per month. So I'm telling you this because I want you to understand that I have been in your shoes. I ask business owners all the time when I meet with them, what time in the early morning do you wake up wondering what you didn't do the day before and worrying about what has to be done in the morning when you get up and go to work? And the looks that I get from business owners are hilarious, because they look at me like, how did you know? And I tell them, because for me it was 2 o'clock in the morning. When I ran this company, every morning like clockwork, my eyes would pop open and I would start worrying and start fretting, and that was just consistent for 4 years. Now, I'd ran that company until basically 9/11 hit. We ran out of money and I had to find a new career. I had to find a whole new career, and in 2004 I got back into the insurance and financial services business, but I did it a little differently this time. I didn't want any overhead, I didn't want any employees, so what I did is I created what many consider to be one of the first virtual insurance agencies, selling health and life insurance products to individuals and families online, almost exclusively online, and I did that until 2012, when it was evident from the general election in November of 2012 that Obamacare was not going to go anywhere. When it was passed in 2010, I, along with a lot of other financial advisors, thought the bill was never going to see the light of day. It was just too egregious. There was too many crazy things in it, and I thought nobody in their right mind is going to allow this to get legs. Well, I was wrong, and the election of November 2012 convinced me that I needed to learn about the bill and how it was going to impact me and my clients. Prior to 2012, I couldn't tell you one single thing about Obamacare that I could literally say I was absolutely right about, and I was absolutely convinced about. I knew nothing about it. But in 2012, in November, after the election, along with a CPA and a tax attorney, we started breaking down the bill from our own professional levels of expertise. The tax attorney broke it down from a tax and legal perspective. The CPA broke it down from a tax perspective, and I broke it down from my own unique internal insurance perspective. And what we learned over those next 90 days completely freaked us out. We collectively looked at each other and said, how did this ever get passed? There's nothing but lies being said and told about this. We need to get the word out. So in 2013, I really started becoming Paul Revere, so to speak, and more evangelistic about getting the word out to seniors and business owners about what was in store for them down the road. In 2013, I was considered Chicken Little. everybody was saying, you're just trying to profit from scaring people. This can't be that bad. Well, sure enough, in 2014, our predictions started unfolding, and in 2015, those detractors and critics who had called me Chicken Little were then calling me Paul Revere. And literally every prediction, every single one that I made in 2012 and 2013, eventually and unfortunately has come true. And so I'm telling you this because if you're a business owner, I want you to know that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this Affordable Care Act and how it impacts you, the business owner, and your employees. I've written 3 books total now, 2 on this particular subject. My latest book is titled You're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat, How Obamacare Threatens Your Retirement Savings. But along with that, in that book, we talk about how it impacts business owners as well. So I am recognized from East Coast to West Coast as somebody that understands and knows the full impact of this bill on seniors and business owners, especially from an insurance perspective, not from a legal perspective or a tax perspective. That's not my expertise, but from a health insurance perspective and a general insurance perspective on how it threatens your money. Now, the goal of this presentation is to make you, the business owner, more aware about the provisions of Obamacare that are now or going to affect your business and your employees and what alternatives you have. And also, I'm going to provide you briefly with some practical common sense solutions that you can use to financially survive this bill. Okay? Now, what I'm going to cover in this very short presentation is I'm going to cover the myths and the lies that are being told about Obamacare, and I'm going to particularly call out who's telling these lies. I'm going to tell you what the new law mandates of you and your business today. Now, that being said, there's no guarantee that it's going to pertain to tomorrow, because as we've seen since 2010 and especially since 2013, the powers to be have no qualms at all about changing this law on the fly, however it suits them. So keep in mind that this is a moving target, and to stay abreast of all the changes and the backpedaling and the backroom deals and all the lying is a full-time job. I'm also going to cover what you, the business owner, can do to protect both your business and your employees. Now, what will not be covered in this presentation is I'm not going to discuss the legal opinions on the legality of the bill. I'm not going to I'm not going to give you any tax advice. I'm going to tell you what the new taxes are, but I'm not going to give a tax opinion, and I'm absolutely not going to talk about the morality, the ethics, or the politics of the ACA. However, you will be able to tell right away what my feelings are about it. Okay? And I'm sure after you understand this in more detail and more fully, you're going to probably feel the same way I am. Because believe me, in my findings, I have found that this bill negatively impacts 95% of Americans. 95% of Americans, maybe 90 to 95. It impacts every one of us in different groups differently. Seniors, business owners, and individuals that pay for their own health insurance. However, it impacts by far the worst. The worst impact of this bill is found on seniors and on business owners. That's who really takes the brunt of this. Now let's talk about quickly the myths and the lies that are being told about Obamacare and who's telling them. The first myth and lie is that you, the business owner, must provide health insurance to your employees. Now, that's pretty much been dispelled. Every business owner knows that they can opt out, but they're going to pay a penalty. But there still are a group of people telling their business owners, no, you have to provide health insurance if you have over 100 employees. And they're almost telling them they have no options. Now, if you have a group health insurance plan, you can't cancel. Now, this is one of the myths and lies being told about. If you have a group health insurance plan, you can't cancel your group health plan until Obamacare open enrollment, or your employees will be left uninsured. That is a blatant lie, and that is nothing near the truth, but there still are people out there telling you business owners this number two very, very egregious lie. And then here's number three biggest lie that's being told about Obamacare to you, Mr. Business Owner. If you happen to not want to provide group health insurance, but you still want to reimburse your employees for purchasing their plan through the exchange or directly from the health insurance company, you'll be breaking the law and you'll be fined. It is true in some instances, and I'll identify those, but for the most part, that's a lie. And it's a scare tactic done by the group health insurance agent to convince you to get an expensive group health insurance plan so he can keep his job. Now, who are the biggest liars when it comes to Obamacare? Well, for sure, it's politicians. Okay? You're not going to get a straight answer. You're not going to get the truth from anybody in Washington or anybody in your state capital here in Sacramento. You're not going to get a straight answer, and there's two reasons why. Number one, it's not in their best interest to tell you the truth. And number two, they don't know. They have no clue how this thing is going to impact you. Not a single clue. They're completely oblivious to how this bill impacts you and me, the business owner, and seniors on Medicare. The second biggest group of liars are group health insurance agents. Now, I don't want, and that sounds pretty strong, but I have found it to be true. And the misinformation that is being given to business owners from their group health insurance agent is done for one of two reasons. Either they don't know the truth or they are holding it back. And to me, either one of those reasons is a reason to fire them. Now, what this new law mandates of your business today, remember, it's a moving target, so it could change. In fact, it just changed last week, and I'll talk about what the changes were. Just changed day before yesterday, in fact. Obama signed another law change that impacts all of us. Now, real quick, this is very important, this stuff I'm going over, because it pertains to your employees. Starting January 1st, 2014, everybody must be covered by what's called a qualified Obamacare health insurance plan or pay a tax or penalty. Now, keep this in mind, Mr. Business Owner. Everybody has to be covered by a plan, whether it's a group plan, an individual plan, Medicare, or free Medicaid or Medi-Cal. Everybody's got to be covered, or else they pay a penalty. Now, if you don't provide health insurance through a group insurance plan, you and your employees still have to purchase coverage. That means you either have to go through the state or federal health insurance marketplace, or called the exchange, or you can get it directly from an insurance company like I do. Now, if you don't get a qualified Obamacare plan, the tax or penalty is 2% of the total household income in 2015, and it's going to jump to 2.5% of your total household income in 2016. That's the penalty for not doing it. Now, depending on yours or your employee's total household annual income, you or them may be eligible for a government subsidy to help offset the cost of the monthly premium. This is very important stuff that I'm giving you, because I'm going to come back around and I'm going to connect these dots when I'm giving you advice on what you can do. Here's something to consider, and we didn't predict this in 2012. This is a much higher percentage than we even dreamed of. Today, 85% of the households in the United States qualify for some form of a health insurance subsidy from the government. 85%. Now, I want you to apply that to your census in your business, your employees. And unless you are running a healthcare business with doctors and nurses and high-tech people, or you're running a high-tech business with engineers and mathematicians and highly compensated individuals, the chances are pretty good that this number holds true in your own employee census. Probably 85% of your employees are going to qualify for a subsidy. However, in order to receive this subsidy, you or your employees have to purchase the plan through the state or federal health insurance exchange. You don't get the subsidy if you're getting a group health insurance plan. This is big news, and it's going to make a difference in your decision to offer group health insurance. Now let's look at this subsidy and who gets it and how much. If you make under $34,000 a year, you're automatically enrolled in free Medi-Cal, in Medicaid in the rest of the 49 states. If you make between $34,000 and $94,000 of total household income, husband, wife, kids, everything, then you qualify for a subsidy. It'll be prorated based on your income, and if you make over $94,000 per year total household income, you get zippo, nada, nothing, no enchilada. You're paying full retail for your health insurance. Now, here's my first Obamacare alert. To you, Mr. Business Owner, if you provide coverage to your employees, they still must purchase coverage for their spouse and their children. That's if you don't pay for it. They still have to buy it. And they've got to buy that from either your group health insurance plan or from a private insurance company. Okay? Typically, they have to buy it from the group plan. The moment you, Mr. Business Owner, decide to offer a group health insurance plan to your employees, every single one of your employees are disqualified automatically from receiving any premium subsidies for their spouse and children, even if their income qualifies them for one. So I want you to think about your employees right now. If you've got employees that are putting their wife and children on your group plan, you are doing them a disservice, because now they have to pay full retail, which is usually expensive, to add their spouse and dependents, the spouse and children, and they could have gone to the exchange, most likely purchased a policy for them, your employee, the wife and children, for less out of pocket with their subsidy than they're paying to add their wife and children onto your plan. And most business owners aren't being told that by your group health insurance. I'm going to give you a quick example. In 2013, I was asked to consult with an employer who had 165 employees, and based on the Obamacare formula, they had 65 full-time employees. Now, the Friday before I came in, this was right around Christmas holidays of 2013, so Obamacare was just about to kick in, and everybody was now purchasing their Obamacare plan since November 1st. The Friday before we met, this business owner had one of his managers come in with a court order. And if you're an employer, you've probably seen these before. The employee came in with this court order that he was ordered by the court in the divorce decree that he had to pay for insurance for his sole 8-year-old son. So he cavalierly comes into the HR department telling the HR person that he had tried to purchase a plan for his son, just his son, on the California state exchange called Covered California, but he couldn't proceed because the software told him, because his employer was offering group health insurance, he could not purchase a plan for his son through Covered California. So he just figured he'd come in to the HR person and add the son to his existing group plan that was being offered by my client, my prospective client. So the manager comes into the office and he tells the HR person, I've got to comply with this divorce decree, and I want to add my son onto my group plan. The HR manager told this young manager that it was going to deduct $250 every 2 weeks to add the 8-year-old son. That's $500 a month. The employee literally started crying. I can't afford that. Where am I going to come up with that? And the HR person had to tell this employee the truth. If you don't comply, I'm going to get an order from the court to garnish your wages anyways. So he was freaking out. That Friday, I met with the owner that Monday, and he asked me, I've heard you speak. I was at your Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce presentation. That's why I asked you to come in here. can we do anything with this employee? And I said, sure, let's go check out what we can get him at Covered California. So we went to Covered California, and we found out that based on his age and his income and the zip code that he lived in, with his subsidy, we could get a bronze plan for him and his son for $285 a month. I looked at the owner and I said, how much are you paying for just his coverage? The owner said $500 a month. And I said, okay, now the employee has to pay $500 a month for his 8-year-old kid. That's $1,000 a month versus $285. That's a huge difference. So the owner said, what do I do? And I said, well, if it were me, I would call my group health insurance agent, fire him, cancel the group plan immediately, like today. Then I'd call that manager into the office and I would tell him, don't worry, we're going to pay the entire $285 a month for you and your son, and we're going to also add a telemedicine plan, so at any time, 24 hours a day, you or your ex-wife can have access to a doctor via phone who can video conference, phone, or email in case it's after hours. You save the copay, and that doctor can literally diagnose and prescribe medication on the phone. And Mr. Manager, I'm also, as the employer that you're that's proving to you how valuable you are to me, I'm also going to add an accident plan to cover any out-of-pocket expenses for you or your son in case your son gets hurt playing soccer or volleyball or softball or football or whatever, falls off his skateboard, so you don't have to worry about paying the deductible, so your wife knows that this is all covered, your ex-wife, and get her off your back and the court. Now, that's a $500 pay savings to the employee. But what about the owner? So the cost of everything, the $250 a month for the health insurance, $285 for the health insurance, and the telemed and accident plan cost the owner $350 a month. That's $150 a month savings for what he was paying for the health insurance through the group plan, and it just saved his employee $500 a month that he. Now, how loyal is that employee going to be to that employer? How about very? But remember this, as egregious as this bill is, as a health care bill, it's also a tax bill. Initially, the biggest costs that were realized by most business owners in 2014 was from purchasing health insurance for you or your employees. That's what the biggest cost was in 2014. But guess what happened in 2015? January 1st, well, actually January 1st, 2014, in April of 2015, you realized why this was a tax bill as well. Because the real pain was hit when you went to get your taxes done. And what are those new taxes? Medicare tax went from 1.45 to 2.35, which is a 62% increase. The top income bracket went from 35 to 39.6, which is a 13% increase, all because of Obamacare. The top income payroll tax, which you know what that is, went from 37.4 to 52.5%, which is a 52% increase. Long-term capital gains, which is what you will pay if you sell your business, went from 15 to 23.8%, which is a 63% increase. Dividends tax, which is what you get if you are a S Corp and you pay yourself through dividends through your S Corp, it's a 164% increase, 15 to 39.6%. And the estate tax went from 0 to 55%. Now, those are changing and moving, but let's see what that means in real, actual dollars to you. If you sell your business after the impact of Obamacare hits, if you sell your business after January 1st, 2014, you're going to pay an estimated $88,000 more in tax per million. So if you sell your business for $5 million, you're going to pay almost $450,000 more in taxes. If you're taking income from your corporation in the form of dividends, you're going to pay $24,600 more per $100,000 of income you take. And if you're taking straight income from your corp, which very few people do if at all, unless they're just crazy, you'll now pay an estimated $4,600 more per $100,000 of income. Now, Let me give you a quick illustration of what that looks like. A business owner with 100 employees and 250,000 in personal income, which is not unheard of. The new personal taxes from the Affordable Care Act starting 1/1/2014 are estimated to be $14,000 more increase. New personal tax. Now that excludes, forget your IRA, your 401k, any of your other investments. That's different. This is just income taxes. The estimated 2015 cost to purchase health insurance for just your employees, not their spouses and children, which nobody does anymore. The estimated cost in 2015 for 100 employees is averaging about $840,000 per year. I had a phone call by a guy that owns a trucking company, and he said, I guess in 2016 I got to start offering health insurance. I said, yep, you do. How many full-time employees do you have? 200. Full-time? 200. Yes. Okay. Well, you have 3 options, and all of them are bad. Wow. If you offer group health insurance, it's going to cost you about $1 million a year. And I heard him gulp. A what? Yeah, about $1 million a year. If you don't offer health insurance, it's going to be a non-deductible penalty of about $360,000 a year. When can we meet, Rick? I need to talk to you about this. So you're going to start seeing a lot of your friends and relatives that own businesses getting hit in 2016 where they weren't affected in 2015. The 2015 penalty for this guy, 100 employees and 250,000 in income, if he just says, hell with it, I'm not going to offer group health insurance, his penalty would be $140,000 non-deductible, out of pocket. So the ACA or Obamacare has to be broken down and evaluated, and practical advice about it given from a health insurance perspective and a tax perspective. And that being said, most CPAs and most insurance agents don't have a clue about how Obamacare really works and how it impacts everybody. They haven't done their homework. So they don't have a point of reference. CPAs understand the taxes and they know what forms to fill out. If you ask your CPA, how does this really impact my money? He's just going to tell you about these taxes and how much more you have to pay in tax. He's not going to tell you how Obamacare threatens your retirement savings. He's not going to tell you what you can do to protect your business from Obamacare. He doesn't know. Consequently, the biggest mistake you can make regarding Obamacare is getting your Obamacare advice from an uninformed CPA who doesn't understand, or a group health insurance agent who may be financially incentivized to not give you the best advice. I see it all the time. Business owners getting bad advice or making wrong choices about their health insurance could pay hundreds of thousands of dollars of unnecessary costs or penalties, and possibly unnecessary expense. Oops. No, I don't want to do that. I got to get back. Where'd it go? There we go. And possibly unnecessary expense to your employees. Now, the biggest misconception that your employees have about Obamacare is they think you have to provide them health insurance. That's your employees. The Obamacare differentiates what businesses have to provide health benefits to their employees. Right now, it's based on the number of full-time employees, and full-time employees are people that work 30 hours per week or more. Less than 100 full-time employees, you don't have to provide health insurance. That just recently changed. The most recent law allows each and every state to decide for themselves what they will determine to be a large and a small business, which are that's the delta for whether you have to comply to Obamacare or not. In California, California has publicly stated that they plan to use the 100 number. So if you have less than 100 full-time employees, you don't have to provide health insurance, and you won't have a penalty. If you have more than 100 employees, like my sister-in-law, then you're mandated to purchase health insurance for each and every one of your employees, or at least 95%, or there's going to be a penalty imposed on you. Now, businesses with less than 100 full-time employees are not required to provide health insurance coverage. However, everybody still has to comply with the Affordable Care Act's individual mandate. So even though you're not going to provide health insurance to your employees, you still have to have it, your wife and children still have to have it, and all of your employees have to have everybody in their family covered by it to adhere and comply with the individual mandate. There are 3 provisions of this bill as it stands now that if you have over 100 employees, you absolutely have to be aware of. First, starting 1/1/2016, businesses with more than 100 employees who don't offer health insurance to employees will pay a non-compliance penalty of $2,000 per employee per year. Now, if you have 100 employees, the first 30 are exempt. So whatever your number of employees is over 100, if you have 200, the first 30 are exempt. If you have 300, the first 30 are exempt. So it doesn't matter, but the first 30 are exempt. That means that you don't pay a penalty on them. So if you have 100 employees, you're saying, hell with it, I'm not going to offer group health insurance. You're going to pay a penalty on 70 employees of your 100. If you do happen to be crazy enough to offer health insurance through a group health insurance plan, it must be what's called affordable, meaning that your employee, their portion of what you're having them pay can't be more than 9.5% of their modified adjusted gross income, and they can't be paying more than that towards their health insurance. If they do, if what you're asking them to pay is more than 9.5% of their modified adjusted gross income, that's their total household income, their wife, their children, everybody, and that they decide that's too expensive and they go to the exchange and purchase a plan from the exchange, telling the exchange, my group health insurance plan is too expensive, it doesn't fall into the compliance, you will pay a $3,000 per employee penalty for every employee that does that. So why would you ever offer group health insurance? Because now you've got to go and make sure every single one of your employees, you got to verify their income. You got to ask them, how much does your wife make? You got to ask them, do your kids have a part-time job? How much do they make? What about your mother-in-law that lives with you? How much does she get in Social Security? I don't think you, Mr. Business Owner, want to be asking your employees that, and I don't think they want to be answering it. But you have to do that if you're going to offer group health insurance. Group health insurance through an employer-sponsored group health insurance plan. If you do offer health insurance to your employees, you cannot change groups, okay? I can't read that the word with the D, because the panel's covering it up, but you can't differentiate between classes of employees. You can't say, okay, I'm gonna pay this much for my subordinates and this much for my managers and this much for my executives. You cannot discriminate between employee classes if you offer group health insurance. You can if you do it my alternative way. Starting 1/1/2016, if the employer offers health insurance to their employees, once again, the employer is responsible to verify and report the total household income of each and every employee to the IRS. What will the penalty be for not providing coverage considered not affordable? No coverage offered, $2,000, like I said, per employee. And then I went over this already, so for the sake of time, just remember, if the government doesn't think that your group health insurance plan and the portion that you're paying isn't enough, and that employee decides I can't afford that, and they go to the exchange and get a subsidy, you're going to be penalized $3,000 per employee. Now, Congress is considering changing full-time status to 40 hours, which makes sense. But this proves that if you are crazy enough to still offer group health insurance and you decide you can't pay 100% of the employee, you could still be penalized even if you offer that group health insurance, because it may not be considered affordable by Obamacare guidelines. So if you don't offer health insurance, employees number 1 through 30 are exempt. 31 through 100, if you have 100 employees, that's a $140,000 penalty. If you offer health insurance, but it's outside of the compliance, you have $3,000 plus the cost of paying for group health insurance to the employees that did fall below 9.5%. So you're getting hosed 2 times if you offer group health insurance and you're not paying 100% for the employee. If you offer group health insurance to your employees, you automatically disqualify them from premium subsidy. I keep talking about this. I've probably said it 3 times in this presentation, but to me, that one single provision in the bill is the main reason why you don't offer group health insurance. Okay? And I'll get into that a little deeper. I'm almost done. Most companies with over 100 full-time employees are going, once they understand this, once they understand all the moving parts, they're going to say, hell with this. They're going to opt out and pay the $2,000 penalty instead of offering a benefit which costs usually 3 to 4 times what the penalty is, and it goes up each and every year, and having the added burden of doing the IRS's work and being an extended auditing agency of the Internal Revenue Service, which I don't think you want to do. Finally, what you, the business owner, can do to protect both you and your employees, both, okay? In my opinion, there is no economic reason why a business of any size, I don't care if it's Apple, Microsoft, or your 10-man business, should offer group health insurance to your employees via a group health insurance plan as long as Obamacare is structured the way it is currently. Think about this. Let me ask you a quick question. If the government was going to subsidize your advertising and marketing cost with no strings attached, would you take advantage of it? If the government was going to subsidize your payroll with no strings attached, of course you would take advantage of it. If the government was going to subsidize your mortgage on your building or rent in your space with no strings attached, why wouldn't you take advantage of it? Well, the government is offering to subsidize your benefits program. Why aren't you taking advantage of it? Your employees are going to get the exact same plan in the exchange as they will in the group health insurance plan. They're all the same. All the plans have to be identical. Yes, there are bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, but they all have the same benefits. The only difference is the networks, the co-pays, the out-of-pocket, and the deductible and the premium. But the benefits are the same in the exchange and out of the exchange. No difference. In group health insurance, out of group health insurance. In fact, now that you understand that a little bit more, and you see that your group health insurance agent is probably lying to you, I'll go so far as to say this. If you still decide to offer group health insurance benefits, it's because you're just lazy and you don't want to research and learn about the alternatives, or even worse, you're cavalier about your bottom line. You're not really paying attention to your bottom line. But probably the main reason, it's not one or two. I'm being facetious when I say one or two. Probably the main reason why you're still offering group health insurance, or you want to continue to, is because you've been misled or deliberately lied to by your group health insurance agent. He's told you this is the best way to go. It's absolutely not the best way to go. It's absolutely the worst way to go. Here's what I recommend to you, Mr. Business Owner. First thing is get the hell out of the health insurance business. Do not offer a group health insurance plan under any circumstance, an employer-sponsored group health insurance plan. What you do is this. You let the government subsidize your business. Let every single one of your employees, everyone, including you, go to either the exchange or directly to the insurance company and get their own health insurance. If you want to help them, now me personally, if it were me and I was running a 50-man business, I would be as draconian as this. I'd say, I'm not offering group health insurance. You can get it through the exchange. You have to go buy it. If you don't, you're going to pay the penalty, but I can't afford it. That would be me. But most business owners aren't as mean and draconian as me. What they want to do is they still want to offer benefits, but they don't want to go broke or shut their business down doing it. So what I recommend is you do this. Give an allowance to each and every employee. Now, a lying group health insurance agent will tell you this. Oh, you can't do that. You're going to have a $100 per day fine per employee, which is true. It's true. That is true. But they're not telling you the whole truth. You can offer a reimbursement through what's called an HR 105 health reimbursement arrangement between you, the employer, and the employee, which says this. Much like when you reimburse your traveling salespeople for their expenses, and it's deductible to you but non-taxable to the employee because it's a reimbursement of their out-of-pocket cost, through an HR 105, an employer can now reimburse for any amount they want to an employee for various costs like health insurance or child care, whatever they want, and it's tax deductible to the employer, tax free to the employee, and it still does not activate the fine or get the employer out of compliance in reimbursement. So why wouldn't you do that? You get to control the cost. Let me give you a quick example. What you can do is say this: I can't afford $500 a month, but if you can probably, because of your income, you can qualify for a subsidy through the exchange. I'll give you $350 or I'll give you $300 a month as a reimbursement, then go to the exchange, and I think you're going to find that you're going to pay less for you and your wife and your 2 children than you would if I paid for you through a group plan and then you had to add your wife and your children to the plan, because you can't get them Medicaid and you cannot get them a subsidy plan through the exchange because I'm offering this group plan, so I'm helping you by not offering group health insurance. That's how we position this with employees. Once employees understand this, that it's better for them and they get more benefits, they love this. Okay? How well does this strategy work? I saved my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law has a $20 million a year company. It's more than $20 million a year in annual revenue. She has 120 employees. I saved her $500,000 a year in benefits cost, and we provided her better benefits to the employees than they would have through the group plan at less out-of-pocket cost for the employees. Now, if you're a business owner and you've been trying to figure out where the hell am I going to find money to provide for a retirement plan? Where am I going to get money to put away for this? Where am I going to stash money? I'm spending every dollar I'm making on everything running my business. How'd you like to free up $500 per month, $300 to $500 a month per employee, put in your pocket and your bottom line, and still provide benefits to your employees? How'd you like to do that? For now, you don't have to worry. Now you've just found money to fund your retirement plan. Because believe me, your business probably isn't going to be your retirement plan unless it's a business that can run it itself and doesn't need you all the time. I don't want to get into that, but I do see that. Every single company I've consulted has saved out-of-pocket cost for them and their employees and improved overall benefits. To get more resources on this, I go into much more detail. I've just kind of skimmed the surface. There are much more detailed information in the Obamacare Survival Kit for business owners, the Obamacare Bootcamp for business owners, and in the book, You're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat. You can find those on www.obamacareuncovered.com. You just go in there and opt in. I'm going to forewarn you, advisors, any advisors that are on here, don't opt in because we're not going to send it to you unless you're contracted with us. This is specifically for clients and for business owners. So if you're an advisor, you're not contracted with us, we're not going to send this stuff to you, even if you opt in. So you can go to the website and check it out, but if you opt in, we're not going to send it to you, unfortunately. For you webinar attendees, for you business owners, I want to help you out, okay? I want to help you out because I know you're getting lied to, and there's so many questions going on, and you don't know what to do. You're too busy running your business. I want you to have this Obamacare Bootcamp at no cost. It's normally $200. It's going to tell you what you need to know. I go into more detail. No cost. Just contact me or Tammy. We'll get it to you. And if you want, I will give you a complimentary strategy planning session for business owners. I normally charge $1,500 to come into a business owner and give him an entire Obamacare strategic plan. Whether he takes my advice or not, I'd still charge him the $1,500, but 99% of the time they take my advice. It doesn't matter where you're at. We have Skype, we have phones. I don't need to see you face to face. You may want to see me face to face, but if you want to just talk to me on the phone or Skype, I will walk you through this whole process, and I will tell you where the minefields, where the mines are at in the minefields. Okay, I'm done, Tammy. That's it. They can go to www.obamacare-uncovered.com and see all that. But if there's any questions, I tried to keep it under 45 minutes, but I didn't.
You did really well.
Go ahead.
And I've got a couple of questions that we can answer real quickly. But everyone that's on the call that is a business owner, if you would, after this webinar, immediately afterwards, a survey is going to pop up on your screen. It's like 6 questions, shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes to answer them. If you'll answer those, there's a place there where you can request Rick to call you to schedule this free strategy session, which is, like I said, he's done this for dozens of businesses and he does normally charge for it. So it's a good deal. I wasn't expecting him to offer that. So immediately when I hit the end webinar, you should see the screen. Go ahead and fill that out or email me and we'll make arrangements. Now, the other thing is, here's a question. This is really good. Really briefly, Rick, can you tell us something about the Cadillac tax that people are talking about What is that, and does it affect business owners, and how can we avoid that?
The Cadillac tax is primarily for the plans that are offered by unions. Those are so rich that nobody wants to lose them. So Obamacare said, hey, starting in 2016, we're going to charge a 40% Cadillac tax on the premium. Tax on the premium. Now, they are backtracking, they're backstepping on that. The Democrats are saying, well, we don't know if we want to do that because the unions are just they're just reaming them out about this because, the unions want to keep those really, really rich benefit plans. And so it's still up in the air. I think the last I read and heard that they are considering just waiving that Cadillac tax. They're allowing businesses to continue those. However, keep in mind, guys, if you're a business owner, those plans are so damn expensive. They are ridiculously expensive. No business owner that I can think of would buy them other than they are contractually bound to because of a union contract. Okay?
Perfect.
So those Cadillac plans are primarily, not always, but primarily the only ones left are those companies that are union
Okay.
companies.
Well, thanks for that, Rick. Also, the other one is you mentioned, Rick, in the webinar, and this is from Janet. You mentioned in the webinar that there was the $100 per employee charge if you subsidize. How does the HR 105? Because she says, I've been told by my advisor that you can't structure the 105 plans correctly, and you're going to end up in trouble with the IRS. So how does that work?
We have a firm called Zane Benefits, which is the top company in the country for this particular strategy and HR 105s. So we'll put Janet in contact with them. They've got the documentation. They do this all the time. And that's advisors and group health insurance agents are wrong. And we can put them in contact with Zane Benefits. And Zane Benefits will straighten them out on the HR 105, how to structure it, how to position it, and how to leverage it.
Thanks for that, Rick. Also, Rick, before we leave, tell everybody how they can contact you directly. They may want to call in on our 800 number.
Yeah, they can. I don't have that right offhand. We just got that, Tammy. As you know, you can send that out. But they can find it on Obamacare Uncovered. It's there, and they can also email me at www.rickliwag.com. I'm sorry, my email address, not my website. My email address is rick@rickliwag.com. Liwag is Liuag, so it's rick@rickliwag.com.
Okay, everybody on the call, we'll be getting back in touch with you. I want to thank you. This is just skimming the surface, though, business owners. There's a lot more moving parts to this thing, and we hope we've just given you some.
Well, that's why we do the planning. That's why we do the planning and strategy session to break all those nuts open. Yeah.
Okay. Well, also those of you in Southern California can listen to Rick every week on KCAA AM radio going out of San Bernardino County, and you can also get recordings of that if you go to our podcasts on Blog Talk. Just look for Safe Money Talk with Rick Liwag. Thanks again to Rick and everyone that was on the call. Again, wait for that survey to pop up, and we will get right back in touch with you. Thanks a lot.